This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and it's iPhone time again, this time the iPhone 11. The 11, not Pro model. Obviously, because we have this zingy product red color here, and it's available in your choice of 6 colors. And honestly, they're really exciting and neat colors. I think us more expensive iPhone buyers always kind of feel a little let down that we don't get a choice of all these neat colors. The 2 new colors this year are seafoam green, kind of, yay, like a 50s Telecaster, and purple. So inside here, for the supposedly not Pro model, we still have the Apple A13 Bionic CPU and 4 gigs of RAM. It is every bit as fast as the more expensive Pro models, but you're paying $300 less. It starts at $699 for the 64 gig model. Each storage increment adds $50 to the cost. So you can get 128 gig, or you can go up to 256 gigs, and that would be $100 more total. So that's a pretty good amount of storage for a, again, supposedly not Pro model. We're going to look at it now. And as ever, Apple does do a really good job with their Bionic CPUs for iPhones. So the A13, both on the Pro and on the 11, same benchmark results, does really well against the flagship Snapdragon 855. We're talking almost twice as fast on single-core performance on Geekbench 5, for example. And the multi-core performance is faster, too. So considering that you're not paying as much as the Samsung Galaxy S10 would cost or something like that, it's a nice perk to have a fast phone. What it really means, though, is that your phone will be useful for more years going down the road. For those of you who hold onto your phones, you won't be saying in a year from now, oh man, my phone is slow, I need a new one. So just like the Pro models, you get Face ID, facial recognition scanning here, no fingerprint scanner. You have still a Lightning connector on board. You have wireless charging, Qi wireless charging on the back. You have fast charging support, but you don't get the 18-watt fast charger in the box like you do with the Pro models. You can buy that charger separately, though, if you wish to charge more quickly. There's a lot that's the same here. The cameras are a bit different, though. Now, the main and the wide or ultra-wide lenses are exactly the same as is the computational photography features that you would find on the Pro models. What you're not getting here is the telephoto lens. We'll talk a little bit more about why you might miss that in a moment. Now, a lot of reviewers say this is the iPhone most people should get. I don't really believe in that. I'm not telling you what you should get. I give you the facts so you can make that decision for yourself. I say get the iPhone that has the features that you want and that will not put you in some sort of financial peril. That said, this does offer many of the same features as the Pro model. And one thing that's kind of nice always about the spiritual successor to the iPhone XR, which is what the iPhone 11 is that it's that kind of Goldilocks in-between size. For those of you who think the 5.8-inch iPhone Pro is too small and the 6.5-inch Max is way too big for you to handle, the 6.1-inch in the middle kind of size is nice. It's kind of mainstream, and you're getting a high-end phone without having to go fabulous phablet size, which is generally the problem with Android land. The OnePlus 7 Pro, for example, which directly competes, including on price starting around $669, is a significantly larger phone. You also get the same 12-megapixel front camera that you do on the Pro models, and it has 2 levels of zoom, so you can get it a little bit wider. The selfie here is of the cat, because you're seeing enough of my face in these videos already, aren't you? And you also get IP68 water resistance, which is up from IP67 rating for the iPhone XR. Also faster connectivity, just like the Pro models. You get Wi-Fi 6 and Gigabit 4G LTE. No, there's still no 5G, but really we're not ready for 5G yet. The spectrum isn't all sorted out with the modem bands, and also the modems tend to overheat in the phones that are on the market right now. So maybe next year, or for sure the year after, we'll totally be into 5G if you need those kind of speeds. Lastly, you get the same U1 ultra-wideband chip, and what that's for is for basically right now, it's going to be for AirDrop. So directionally, if you're working with another U1-equipped iPhone, you can point your iPhones at each other, so you don't have to scroll through a whole list of possible AirDrop buddies to drop with. Also, they can add support for other things like device tags, like for your luggage or whatever. You get the idea. So what aren't you getting here? Well, you're getting an IPS display instead of an OLED display. It's also lower resolution and lower pixel density, 326 ppi, which has been the old LCD Retina standard for years, not surpassed until Apple came out with the OLED displays, which are about 100 ppi higher. Now, no OLED here, so unless you have a PWM sensitivity pulse width modulation where you notice the screen refreshing, OLED displays refresh at a lower hertz, so it might be more noticeable if you have a particular sensitivity. IPS displays refresh much higher, you might not see it. Other than that, it's still a wide gamut DCI P3 display with good color accuracy, and honestly, if you look at it, in the store or look at your buddies or whatever, you're going to say, this is a really nice looking display. So it's not like, oh, wow, that's craptastic or something. And for $700, it shouldn't be. But at the same time, you're not going to see that super high contrast. You're not going to see as vivid colors. You're not going to get HDR support, which really can make videos pop that are recorded in HDR format. And the brightness is going to be lower. 625 nits for the IPS iPhone 11 versus almost twice that on the iPhone Pro models when you're watching HDR content. It's a bit lower if you're on the home screen, then it's not twice as much. It's just about 250 nits brighter then. The other thing you're not getting is the stainless steel frame and the matte glass back on the Pro models. Now, it's up to you whether you like the glossy or the matte. I mean, you're going to be wearing a case on this thing anyway, aren't you? The stainless steel is more durable. Aluminum is easier to scratch and dent. Again, if you're wearing a good case, less of an issue there. And of course, if you actually need 512 gigs of storage and you can afford an iPhone 11 Pro with 512 gigs of storage, that storage capacity is not available on the iPhone 11, but I think most people will be okay with 256 gigs. All right, let's talk about the cameras. So you're getting the same main and ultra-wide cameras that you would on the Pro models, and they are stupendous. Like I said in my iPhone 11 Pro Max review, and go ahead and watch that because I go into super duper detail there, particularly with the camera. They have done a great job of bringing themselves up to parity with Android. They were kind of lagging behind and, you know, feel a little bad like, oh man, Android friend takes sharper pictures, has more lenses, whatever, that sort of thing. These are really good pictures. Sharp, crisp, detailed, and natural looking, not overly colorized, not overly contrasted. They look like something you would get out of a standalone camera, which is a wonderful accomplishment for something that's a tiny little phone lens, isn't it? Also, you have the same night mode that you would get on the Pro models, and it's stupendous. I mean, again, just like with the Pro Max model, I had locked myself into a dark bathroom with just like 1 inch of the door cracked open so I didn't hurt myself in the dark, and took a picture compared to the Pixel 3a XL, which is the low light champion, and it did really well. In fact, with the iOS 13.1 update that we've since gotten, I would say it's improved even more, and it looks a little better than the Pixel 3a's. Now, what happens with the Pixel 4? We'll have to wait a couple more weeks to find out there, but Apple has done a wonderful job. So the ultra-wide lens obviously is useful if you're doing landscape photos, huge family portraits, or gatherings or something like that, but it's really nice for big outdoor shots, and even for up-close ones where you want to do that kind of fill the lens with the person kind of thing. The features will be a little bit distorted, but it looks really cool. Now, what you're not getting is the telephoto lens here. And you might say, I can live with that without that for $300. And you could very well be right. But it's not just that you don't get to take sharp telephoto photos that are in 2x zoom relative to the main camera without having to use digital zoom. But the bokeh portrait shots are noticeably different here. And that's where the telephoto lens usually would come into play. You can see on screen right now that using both the iPhone 11 Pro and the iPhone 11, taking this same picture of the same stork statue, and the little whoopsies that you get with the bokeh, with the around the edges of your subject there, where there's interpolations, mess-ups, and stuff like that, you'll see that on the iPhone 11 camera. If you zoom in and you notice that, you won't see that nearly as much on the 11 Pro and Pro Max cameras. They'll have occasional errors with the borders of your main subject, but not nearly as much. Last year, the iPhone XR was the battery life champion, beating out the iPhone XS and XS Max even, in part because the lower resolution, lower power consuming IPS display really helped there. Well, this year that's kind of turned around, that you do get a slightly bigger 3110 milliamp battery inside compared to the XR, but because Apple made the batteries more significantly bigger on the Pro models, they actually last longer on a charge. So that's another selling point for the Pro models if you really need that. We're talking by several hours here. Not that the iPhone 11 is a slouch when it comes to battery life. It's still one of the class leading, especially compared to a lot of the Android flagship competition out there, but not as long as the Pro models. So that's the iPhone 11 for 2019, starting at $699, and really it's a good phone for the money, even if it doesn't have all of the Pro features. For the price, you're getting a super fast performing CPU in here, the same amount of RAM you get on a Pro model. Really very good cameras. No tele and lesser on the bokeh portraits, but you know, you get the idea here. And a selection of really awesome colors. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and be sure to enable notifications so you know when we have a video.